Isn't it time to stop reliving your past hurts and move on to a bright and hopeful future?
I have a right to be upset, but I don't have a right to be wounded for the rest of my life. So I choose to be healed.
Get rid of the bitter poison that unforgiveness administers to the soul with Bishop David G. Evans. Forgive again, live again.
It's a liberating experience, and being able to forgive someone and forgiving yourself. It's liberating.
Forgiveness will deliver me in 3 dimensions. From what happened, from who it happened with, from when it happened. Because sometimes you'll get free from the what, but the who will still have you bound.
This highly sought-after 4-part message of healing can be yours on CD or DVD. Act now, and we'll include Bishop's book, Healed Without Scars, with your order absolutely free. All yours when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today.
Allow God's living waters to wash over you and refresh your soul.
You've been praying for yourself when the answer is in praying for other people. While I'm praying for California, God shows up in my house.
As kingdom people, with the king in us and us being sovereign ground, we're not governed by the laws of this land, but we're governed by the laws of heaven.
He's talking about you going to draw water from the wells of salvation. Where's the well? In you.
If we want to release the water, watch this, we don't have to pray for it to come. Where we are now, we pray for it to be released.
Release deliverance and transformation in every area of your life through God's living waters. This revitalizing 3-message series can be yours on CD or DVD when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today.
What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Are you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course. From ridiculous to radical to real, this means war. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, from ridiculous to radical to real, and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your
Good morning. I had some coffee, so we're awake. Good morning. Had some coffee this morning. Just had some.
You had morning coffee.
Yeah, from Wawa. So, all that caffeine got me.
Okay.
I needed it this morning. Becoming a fiend.
All right. Yeah, I noticed you're drinking it a lot.
Oh, I need to. I got to stay awake somehow.
Children. Enter coffee.
Right.
Don't blame it on them.
Yeah. Well,
They all right.
yeah.
That's what I said about y'all.
I know.
They all
You
right.
wearing your glasses on a regular now?
They all right. No, just this morning I'm blurred.
You say good morning to me?
Well, good morning. We said good morning. What's that?
Are we on?
already?
They were on. Good morning, y'all.
Hey y'all, how you doing? Lord have mercy. Not our fault. We didn't get a cue. Everybody's busy communing. Let's see what's going on here today. Welcome to On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live on any smart device at David G. Evans 1 worldwide. David G. Evans 1. You can get us on any media that you prefer. So glad you joined us today. 1-866-743-8267. 1-866-743-8267. 1-866-743-8267. Give us a call. Of course, my world famous co-host, Reverend Nicholas Smith. Our outstanding crew is all here today, and we are. I am intrigued by the not so subtle shifts in the political landscape, the suggestions that are being made to the American populace as we're once again in the midst of being persuaded to choose a leader. I understand that there are the traditional things going on. I think there are too many candidates running in the Democratic Party, just like I thought there were too many in the Republican Party when President Trump was running. I believe part of the reason he got elected was because there were so many, and my personal view is that when there's so many candidates, by the time it comes around to making a choice, I think people are on overload and don't know who to choose because you can't follow 20 people. I think it's too much to follow 5 or 6 and really hone in on what they're doing. Nobody's watching that much television.
And they only got, 60 seconds to respond to each
Yeah,
question?
it's just you just can't do it. So I think the whole process is, I think the parties ought to exercise a little bit more control, and those in the parties need to understand that they had to do that, and there needs to be some leverages used to make sure that people adhere to. Look, we don't want somebody that's going to get 3 votes running for president. You don't need to be you don't need to be on a debate stage.
Or you can run but just not be
Well,
debate.
you
run on the side.
This is how you get. This is how you don't. But we're not putting you on national TV, and we know you don't have a snowball's chance of getting past the debate stage.
Right. I agree.
It's to me it's too diffused. I'm watching it. I can multitask, but it's too many people to try to choose to see. And like you said, the 1 minute thing.
You can't answer it.
You go with who you know in that. When it's large like that, you go with who you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the ones that have the good zingers, Kamala Harris, good one-liners, helped out.
But I agree. I think based upon who she is, she's always going to be a quick responder. That was a real nice way of saying something. Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So,
we were saying the same thing, but just without saying it.
She's gonna quick respond, and her mind's gonna work like that. So she's gonna be able to stand up to what they're saying, and she's smart, and she does her research, because she kind of broadsided
Joe Biden
the other night.
He looked out of it.
Did he really?
Yeah. So much so he had to do a press conference the next day.
Did he?
Talking about his role in how he's against racism and et cetera and segregation.
So she made him respond.
She made him respond. He did his own private thing, I think the next day or 2 days later.
Now, what he doesn't do, and what I respect about him, he won't pivot.
Yeah.
And he'll answer a question. One of the things I disrespect about politicians is them not answering the question they've been asked. It drives me bonkers. Yeah. Okay, all that was great. Are you going to answer the darn question?
Yeah.
And they specialize in telling you, Bernie Sanders got on my nerves the other day.
Yeah.
Yes, direct question. He's all out here somewhere.
Yes, he is.
Come back here and answer the question.
He lives out there.
And then the commentator said, "I give you 30 seconds to answer the darn question."
Yeah, I know. He's the old. What somebody called him? He's the old man at when the world's getting ready to end.
Yeah.
That's screaming in the streets, telling everybody the world's getting ready to end. That's where he looks crazy, but what he's saying is somewhat true.
Well, no, he's got it right.
Yeah, but but I do agree. Because they asked him, well, how are you going to pay for this? And he kind of went back to
he goes off
some other stuff.
There's no way it's going to happen without taxes being increased.
Yeah, and he finally admitted that
it has to be paid for.
Middle class will have to bump up their taxes too.
Everybody,
as well as wealth.
Everybody,
because that's how European countries work.
Absolutely,
taxes are higher, but you get
all the stuff,
with it.
You know, so there's a trade-off, and I think that when did helping people become socialism?
When it's considered a bad use of funds, because some people believe that the government's job is to keep us free, protect us, and you're basically somewhat on your own as it relates to your own empowerment, wealth building.
The only people that works for are wealthy capitalists. Mm-hmm. That model works for capitalism. It works for some business people that are successful. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work for the regular working person, but we've said it for a long time. Poverty and the middle class are the necessary parts for capitalism to exist. Mm-hmm. So our issue is that, at the end of the day, we're going to find ourselves paying for stuff so they can stay wealthy. Yeah. So, and since the wealthy are making the decisions, they're going to continue to look out for themselves. Mm-hmm. So there has to be this mass movement. But I still think that, and Sanders was your candidate last time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you still?
I'm still on his agenda.
Okay.
Now, he's in his late 70s now.
Yeah.
I think he's late 70s.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, I'm not trying to be ageist, but that's a lot of pressure on.
I think that for the average senior now is in better health than the average senior was 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. That's an absolute truth.
Right.
Biden looks to be in quintessential shape for a guy his age. Mm. Who are we talking about now? Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Mr. Sanders does not look that physically fit. Mm. When I'm looking at the political landscape, I see a lot of men making decisions for that are older, look to be physically challenged, and also appear to be making decisions based out of their own paradigm and not considering the paradigm that they're impacting. So I get it when they say not all people that are aged. What we need is someone with fresh ideas and the experience to handle that political minefield. Which is why Pelosi works for the Democrats, but at the same time, because you got to have somebody knows how to fight that thing. Yeah, you got to know how to fight it. Yeah, and you have to be sharp in your mind, and that's an exception.
Right.
And that's a lot of. You see how the presidency wears young men out. Mm-hmm. I can't imagine what it does to an older man. The only guy I haven't seen who hasn't aged is Trump because he doesn't go to work.
That's true. He doesn't do much. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't do much.
I mean, he's gone every weekend.
Yeah.
He works about 4 days a week, run the country. Mm-hmm.
And he's tweeting a lot. So.
Yeah, he's tweeting. I understand it. He likes McDonald's and stuff a lot, or whatever he eats at night, and he watches a lot of television, but. Yeah. He doesn't have Mrs. Trump to worry about. She's living somewhere in Virginia, I understand. Yeah. So,
he's got it golden.
Well, he doesn't have to go to work. He doesn't have to deal with her and Barron. He's, she ain't trying to keep him up at night. So, it's just.
If Bernie gets the nomination, I would not be upset. But I think he needs a younger VP, like a better.
He has to have one.
Kamala. And what's getting me about Kamala though? The bots are out now.
Okay, what is the bot?
The bots, the fake Twitter people, and they're putting a whole bunch of messages out questioning her blackness because her dad is Jamaican, and I think her mom was white, I believe.
Her mom is some kind of Asian.
Or some Asian or Native American, something like that. Not forgetting that Jamaican blacks did come from Africa, like.
Well, you don't have to question it; just have to look at it.
Yeah, look at them.
That's not a tan.
Right. Right. Like, hello.
They're going to question it.
Yeah. And she's married to a white man.
She looks the same in the wintertime. That
I know,
means
right?
it's permanent.
I know. Right.
She's not masquerading as
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, hello. And she's married to a white man too.
Well,
And my thing is, you can marry who you want to marry. Why does
the context in which she works, was educated, lends itself to that from time to time.
Mhm.
You know, you're in the arena that you're in, and you become impressed by the people that you're impressed with. So, that.
But some black people, she's a prosecutor.
Well,
she's married to a white man.
So
and
what?
It's unfair, and
They say President Obama wasn't black enough because he didn't. I'd be going to my office now because he didn't
Yeah.
talk like that. So, we be the president.
Michelle was
Right.
too black.
Yeah.
yeah,
Michelle was too black. Michelle
Yeah.
Obama.
Then
Right.
there was no doubt that Mrs. Obama is African American.
They said she was too black.
So, just like there's no doubt that Mrs. Trump is from another country,
yeah,
and we just hate immigrants now.
Right.
yeah. Certain places, immigrants from certain places.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I saw something you put online the other day. How can a country that was built by immigrants have a problem with immigrants now? But that's typical transactional relations.
yeah,
Now that you sacrifice for me,
right.
I don't need you anymore.
Yep. Yeah,
People are like that.
yeah. Well, as long as you were slaves, here's what I say. As long as, let's take blacks. As long as blacks were slaves, they weren't lazy. Once they became free, now they're lazy.
That's amazing. I never thought of that.
That's the view. When you're a slave, hard worker. Once you're out, the perception of you're lazy kicks in. It was one of those racial tropes. I started doing a study. It's so interesting doing a study of all the racial tropes that they do about different cultures like Jews and all that. And they purposely put these caricatures in place to show, after slavery, African Americans lazy, watermelon eating, fried chicken eating, poor people, and that became the stigma of us.
But who were the black people cooking the fried chicken for?
Right, exactly. Like white folk don't like watermelon and fried chicken.
Who had the farms where the watermelon was being grown?
Who had the chickens?
Exactly.
Who owned the chickens?
Yeah. Right.
I'm just
saying.
Go ahead. Okay, I'm just.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just.
It came down to money.
Well, of course.
Once they saw them African Americans prospering in those areas, selling after slavery, they started making them negative so people would stop eating watermelon, fried chicken. They basically stopped buying them from blacks because they knew how to do it.
Yeah.
So, again, it goes back to the effects of slavery. I'm not trying to get to the reparations conversation because it kind of does bleed into it.
Yeah.
That from the end of slavery, even till, let's look at the past 60 years.
Yeah.
The things the government has done to economically hurt African Americans.
Okay.
And then our part to play in it too.
Absolutely.
So this is a joint thing here now. But that's a real issue
Okay.
of how the government has played into the role of keeping certain groups down, which they have done.
Oh yeah. And this whole gerrymandering thing is just simply a sophisticated way to take the voting impact away from a certain group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And making it hard for people to actually register to vote.
Mm-hmm.
This is America last time I checked.
Mm-hmm.
Guys in Florida got to pay their debt off before they can vote.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I don't know why. Is there a galvanized movement like there? Is there anyone to galvanize a movement like Martin Luther King did?
Not now that I know of. Nobody I can see.
One of the things that I realize is that movement happened within the political landscape.
Mm-hmm.
That movement is missing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that because we don't have a leader per se. I think he brought credibility to the fact that black people were rallying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anyone at that helm, and I'm wondering how vital is the African American vote being viewed in the context that we're in right now.
Well, they know it's huge. That's why they're doing all this gerrymandering in the South.
But it seems very easy to fragment because they do this stuff, and I don't hear any collective cry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not. You're
From
hearing.
us.
You're hearing portions of people that live in that area.
Absolutely.
Apathy, to me, is hurting us more than anything. Because if it's not happening directly to me, then
Is part of this cultural hypnosis where we have gone from being aware of differences to ignoring differences, and just have we gotten so hung up in Bentleys and big necklaces that we actually think that that means equality?
I believe so. Something you said last week hit me. You said we moved into these particular neighborhoods, and we thought that people were accepting us when they're actually tolerating us.
Absolutely.
That hit me. I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that.
Because you financially qualify for the neighborhood.
Right.
That does not mean
Yeah.
that you're accepted in the neighborhood.
Right. And you think because you live there,
There
You're
is
in.
a level of acceptance, because to live here you must at least make the kind of money we make.
right?
So you're kind of acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still not coming to your house. I don't want your kids over my house. But
Right.
the deal is
Yeah.
that you pass the muster to be an economic member of the community,
Right.
which makes many people think they're actually members of the community.
Right.
But I think to be a member of a community, you have to have some relations.
Yep.
Without the relational aspect, you live there.
Mm-hmm.
It's your house. The community may not be your home.
Right.
It's your house and your home, but not your hometown.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody brought up, thought about it. William Barber
Yeah.
is really starting to make some noise with the People's Campaign.
Yeah.
He's really on the front line of a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff for the poor. So I do give him that. He spoke at the DNC convention, a couple years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And he does a lot more things down south. Been arrested a couple times. Just, I give it to him. He's really out there.
He's easy for them to ignore.
Yeah. He is, yeah.
He's easy for them to ignore. They don't give him a whole lot of press, and by not giving him the press, they're not raising him up. He's not becoming a leader.
Yeah.
Because there is no consolidated effort
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
to make this presence known. That's why they're actually doing. If King was alive, the stuff that's being done around the states wouldn't go without protest. Wouldn't go without.
Yeah.
You know, Jesse, when he was able, he'd
Yeah.
start shutting down corporations in the city and all. That stuff's not happening now.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is, and I'm trying to get in trouble saying this, before, the pastors were leading the charge.
Absolutely.
Now, they're not on the front lines as much. And not partially because some of them don't want to be, but because they're now blurring the same-sex movement within. So a lot of the African-American leaders are meshing in the racial as well as the sexual equality in the same discussion.
That was a very nice way of saying what I'm about to say.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? A lot of the people.
What I've noticed in the dynamic is that those that have gotten in the room are afraid to lose their seats.
Okay.
Some of those that have gotten in the room are afraid to lose their seats, which is why they're not saying what they need to say once they're inside the room. There's a difference between, watch this, having a seat at the table and actually getting a menu.
Right.
If you don't get a menu, you're invited to be there, but you're not invited to participate. So here's the deal. People are making the decision, and the logic I understand. If I can get in the room, perhaps I can make a difference. But if you get in the room and you're not going to ever say anything, you won't make a difference.
Right.
So we're cherishing these seats at such high value, even with somebody that we know doesn't personally like us. It's similar to, and I'm getting ready to get in trouble, similar to this whole ecclesiastical thing that the African American clergy is going through, having to go to Rome to get educated to become a bishop here domestically. There's a problem when the place that you're going to be validated doesn't consider you a real church.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's my issue. Why are we going to an organization that doesn't? I think they call us a community, not a church.
Okay.
All right, because in their mind, they're the only church that exists. We're paying money to go into a system, and I don't care who the African American leadership is here in the States. You're still being validated by that stuff. Your ordination certificate is tracing you back to Paul. Like if you're not related to Paul, you ain't a real. You're not really called or used by God.
Right.
So I got an issue with all this, but it comes from a place that doesn't consider you a real church.
Right. Woo! You in your bag this morning.
You know,
Yeah, but you're not lying though.
So
You're not lying.
we're willing to compromise things that I think we shouldn't compromise.
I agree.
You know, and I totally respect people's right to choose that.
Mm-hmm.
But don't call me illegitimate,
Right.
because I choose not to be recognized by a church that doesn't think I'm a church.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I agree.
So I don't want a seat at that table.
Yeah.
Because if I get one,
Mm-hmm.
my friends go to these things.
Mm-hmm.
They'd say, Dave, don't come.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's some stuff I'm just not going to sit there and say,
That's so nice. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just glad to be here.
Right.
No,
Right.
no.
Right. And there's
I'm coming from a place. I got a place to come back
right.
to.
And there is no scriptural basis for at all that you had to have, in order to become a bishop or an apostle, a lineage back to the original apostles.
There's nothing
hands
there.
on one to lay hands on one to lay hands on one.
If it is, it may be something that has originated out of the Catholic Church.
Right.
Didn't originate out of our cultural context.
Right. Yeah.
And the reality is that I have no problem with the guys that like that.
Mm-mm.
But don't try to tell me
Yeah.
that my stuff's not legitimate
'Cause you didn't do
because I'm not being validated by somebody that doesn't think I'm a church.
Right. And Paul came through a different way.
Yes, he did.
He didn't come in through
The guy they're using
Yeah.
was kind of a renegade in the system.
Yeah. So much so that Peter and the crew had issues with him because he was
Absolutely.
more for the Gentile
Absolutely.
than the Jew.
The context gives me the impression of the religious folk from Israel wanting everybody to stick to that law
Mm-hmm.
rather than Paul coming in the way he came,
Yep.
which disrupted everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm related to Paul. I'm a great admirer of Paul, but
Yeah.
I'm not related to him, and I'm not pining away because I'm not.
Right. Right. Right.
I didn't know a lot of my legitimacy.
Mhm.
Now,
Yeah.
depended on my being related apostolically
Yeah.
to him.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
And I love the fact he wrote my liberation while he was in jail.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. He's in chains. He's writing my freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yep.
But we ain't got to be related.
No, not at all.
Not apostolically.
Mm-mm.
Not physically.
Mm-mm. I mean, and even at the same time, I mean, who ordained Peter to be the only one, or Paul, to have the lineage when you had all these other apostles that laid hands on other people and
My brothers
made
are part,
apostles and made
my brothers are part of the Coptic Catholic Church.
Yeah.
It's the Ethiopian Catholic Church. They think they are the it.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, and he may still think it. For years he thought my thing was, I was an imitation church, imitation pastor, imitation bishop,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't mind telling me that.
Yeah. Which is crazy. So Pentecost happens. The gospel goes to all the nations.
You're trying to be biblical now.
I know. It just
Trying to be biblical. Don't be biblical
So-
now. We're not bringing the
Right.
Bible into this
That's true.
conversation.
That's true. That
We
just-
bring that in, it blows the whole argument.
right. That's true.
You know.
So God preaches to everybody, but only one group got
only
it.
one group got it.
Yeah,
It's
just-
you know.
Wow.
You know, they did say they went out from there speaking tongues and went to all the
Yeah.
nations, but let's just
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
Don't be too scriptural because
I'm sorry.
you may reveal some errors in some
You're
people's
right.
thinking.
You're right. But even some denominations here, they feel like, we're the only one coming in, and one that you
Silly.
came from.
Silly.
Heaven's going to be a real small place.
I was told in Sunday school class, if you don't believe we're the only ones in heaven, why are you a part of the Church of God in Christ?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was told to my face in front of witnesses.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the Bible I read says heaven's a lot bigger than our denomination. So,
Mhm. Right. Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you mean they got neighborhoods that are unoccupied in heaven?
Right.
Because the mansions are built, but we're not going in them.
Yeah.
They didn't like me after
It's
that.
a real small place.
Yeah, it's real small.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But it shows you how our human mind tries to decrease God and almost devalue him.
Our search for legitimacy will take us into places that don't legitimize us.
Yeah.
You know, we search for things to legitimize us that are not real validators,
Yeah.
which is why we will absolutely, as a people, have $1,000 worth of clothes on
Yeah.
and $3 in the bank
Right. Absolutely.
and have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm. Because it's all about the show. And somebody brought up, I love our people, that one of the biggest arguments of the disciples were, who's going to be the first one?
Absolutely. I want to see.
Who's going to be the best one? Who's
And
gonna
we
be
still upset over seats in church.
Who's going to be number one? And Jesus tells you, as the kingdom, I'm not the one that's sitting to be served. I'm the one that's serving.
That's right.
But I think a lot, and now the evangelical community is finding their legitimacy in Trump and politics.
I thought
and
I thought Maldonado did an incredible job explaining the mindset
Yep.
of how you can call yourself Christian and support the present administration. The way he mapped that out, I can't remember the exact words,
Yeah.
but it was phenomenal.
It was.
I hadn't heard it so succinctly, intellectually, logically, and spiritually explained.
Yep.
But it made perfect sense.
Yep. I think it was along the lines of getting folks saved.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it, just kind of leaving them hanging. And you see a lot of missionaries do that. They go to Africa, go to third world countries.
Yeah.
They give them the gospel,
Yeah.
but don't economically empower them, don't help them develop. It's just, let's get you to heaven, but you're not equal to me.
That's weird. I got a tweet this morning sometime that was talking about the fact that that preachers, it's a noble thing to say. Number one, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying it was short-sighted. That preachers ought to just preach and leave current issues
Right. Yep.
out of their
Yeah,
preaching.
just preach the gospel.
That's all. But it's impossible to preach the gospel and not address issues like hungry, in prison, sick. All these things are supposed to be addressed. All these things are supposed to spring out of the gospel. So Jesus did not come down here. You know what they're saying? Jesus should have come, healed nobody, criticized nothing in the government, and he'd have been a better Jesus to them. That makes no sense to me.
No.
So it's like I'm going to get in trouble. It's like a preacher. I hate controversy. It's like a preacher doing a eulogy and totally ignoring the deceased.
Right. Yes.
It was one time said, just come and preach the gospel at the funeral.
Yeah.
So the family leaves the funeral unaddressed.
No comfort.
The deceased unaddressed,
Yep.
especially in difficult situations. No answers. You just preach the gospel, which means I ain't talking about this.
Right.
I know we got a body right here. I'm not talking about this.
Yeah. Y'all coming to hear me preach.
How is addressing the deceased not preaching Jesus?
Right. When Jesus applies the gospel to every different aspect.
Absolutely.
If all Jesus came to do was die on a cross to get us to heaven, like you said, he would have never healed nobody. He would have just lived and been innocuous. Just died, say, hey, y'all, I died. Come. But he showed us how to live on this earth.
He explained the God reasons for why Lazarus died. He did not ignore the deceased.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to increase y'all faith. This is for the glory of God.
Yep.
Yes, he was sick as my friend.
Yep.
He addresses all those things in his eulogy at the tomb.
Yeah. Then raises him up.
And raised him from the dead.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
When he raised the young girl up,
Doc.
went into the room.
Doc.
All y'all mourners stopped.
Did y'all cut it out? You're messing up my flow.
Yep.
Need you step out of the room. Deals with the deceased. So a real eulogy must address the issue that is presented to us on that day.
Yep.
Now, I know some people are not going to like that, but you can't let a family walk out with the situation unaddressed.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
I think just preaching Jesus means you don't have to prepare for the funeral.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's you don't want to do the difficult task.
No, don't want to do no research. Just he went to the cross, he died 3 times, and then got him up.
That's it.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying.
That is true.
So, I'm watching TV this week, and I see this little girl drown next to her father on the shore.
Yeah.
I don't get. Here's what's a revelation to me. The humanity that we thought we had.
Yeah.
I realized we never had it.
Never had it.
We've been acting nice.
Yes.
Which means we're not nice. Some of this stuff ought to make something visceral happen to us as a nation. We are absolutely celebrating this stuff we condemn in other countries.
Absolutely. Yep. And some Neanderthal type person said that was their fault. They shouldn't have tried to come over.
Okay.
This is what happens when you come over.
Okay.
But again, my problem is the humanity part of it.
I understand.
And people are allowed to seek asylum.
Mm-hmm.
What are they running from?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, you know, you guys celebrate the ones that lived and died that came over on a boat from Europe. You didn't sit there and say they shouldn't have came over.
We got huddled masses. Isn't that somewhere in our national doctrine? Bring me your tired, your huddled.
I think it's on the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. That thing they got out there in the harbor that's supposed to signal the temperament of the place you're about to land is, okay, we want you. So we got this group of people that's decided we don't want you. But what's amazing about a lot of them is they don't have anything. Blaming unemployment, and they don't want the job.
Right. Yeah.
Don't tell me I got your job and you don't want the job that I have.
Yep. There's a guy that's running for office in West Virginia.
Yeah.
He tweeted this out. He said, y'all stop acting like you care about this immigration thing so much. West Virginia is 98% white. These immigrants are not taking your job.
They're not taking the job.
They're not taking your job.
Yeah, and it's so true in so many other states.
Yeah, technology's doing it more than anything.
Absolutely.
But, you know, they're all round up about this immigration thing.
Computers are taking the job. Machines are taking them.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, computer doesn't speak Spanish unless you program it.
Yep.
But he ain't hola in the morning. That ain't happening.
And we believe in common sense immigration rules.
Absolutely.
We don't believe people just come over willy-nilly.
No. You just,
But there's a humanity to this thing.
look, we're criticizing the stuff we see. When did we stop being sensitive to separating children from their parents? When did we stop being sensitive to losing children in a system? When did we policy up being just hateful? It tells me though, there's a group of folk that actually agree with this stuff because they've been convinced that person crossing the border is going to take the job they've been occupying for 20 years. Not true.
My taxes are going to go up because of them. We're going to be paying for them. And here's the part that I have with
Your taxes went up because rich folk got a break.
Yep. Basically.
Not an immigrant.
Yeah. And that's what they don't see.
They don't want to see it.
And my problem is you can talk about stopping illegal immigration, but do you have to use racist rhetoric and fear in order to do it?
To impress the crowd that they need to impress, yes.
That's true.
They're using the linguistics that they need to stoke up a group of people where they've actually manifested a false fear. Because I'm telling you again, the jobs they're saying they're not getting are not jobs they're applying for.
Yep.
Guys come cut the grass. I don't see a whole lot of white people doing it. Owning the company, but not cutting the grass.
Cutting the grass, though, no.
I don't know. I sit on a lot of boards, and the temperament of the boards has changed since my president came into office. I'm finding now that I have to do more, have to have more uncomfortable conversations in a board context than I used to have when President Obama was in office. I did not know the psychological limitations that have been placed on certain people and their ability to say certain things while President Obama was in office, that now I'm sitting in the room with the same people and they're saying things that are highly offensive, very different, and almost like they're challenging me to see whether I want that seat hard enough not to say anything. And they're learning the hard way. I could care less about the seat. It's just more work for me.
Absolutely.
You know, so I say what I need to say to whom I need to say it, no matter how venerable they are sitting around the table. I couldn't care less. But you're not going to disrespect me. I'm sitting here and act like, you know, since Trump's in office, you can say whatever you want to say, and I have to take it.
No.
And I'm talking about not guys that didn't graduate from high school. I'm talking about accomplished men and women. They've got this new thing about them that they, you know, that the president has given them a right to give me permission to punch them in the face in a board meeting.
People start making T-shirts up. I can't remember exactly how it's quoted.
Y'all don't hear me, man.
Said, "Don't let your president get you these hands."
A guy pulled in front of me the other day at the. I was getting some air. Older guy. Got his cap on, T-shirt. I'm sitting there. He pulls it in front of me. So I'm like, I just finished watching a couple videos, and I had to talk to myself. Stay in this car. It's just air.
Yeah.
Stay in the car. It's just air. Then when he's backing out, he's looking at me like,
should have blocked him in for a minute.
well, I thought about that, but had he backed up into my automobile, then I had much more to lose than he did. But my point is, the brashness to do it, and the anger that swelled up inside of me, where my tolerance for this type of thing is gone.
Yeah.
I felt like, would you have done this on another day?
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't have done it. But God protected him and me.
Yeah, he did.
I come from an era where this stuff is not tolerated.
Yeah. And I feel bad because usually, like, if I'm in a shop, I'm in a grocery store, and, an older woman wants to pass by, let her go on by first.
Yes, absolutely.
But there's a certain attitude that some of
Oh
them
yeah,
have now,
oh yeah.
where they start pushing, and I keep going, and I look at them too, like, you gonna wait? You're not gonna, and then they'll watch me do it to another nice woman, let her go by. I'm like, you should have been nice. I'll let you go by,
Absolutely.
but don't look at me like I'm supposed to let you.
Oh yeah,
Because no, you gonna stay your behind there until I get done.
The Walmart thing is blowing my mind. I'm having people pick up speed walking directly towards me, as if you better move.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I start smiling at them like 6 feet out. Yeah. Okay. Really?
Yeah, really.
I just start.
Yeah.
I ain't look. But I'm upset that I have to have this posture now.
Yeah.
I'm upset that on these boards that I sit on, very powerful people, that they weren't men enough to reveal these attitudes before now.
Yep.
And they're revealing them now. But my other problem is, what are you going to say when this administration ends? Do you come back and suddenly, hey, how you doing? Yeah. It ain't going down like that. Let's go to morning, Sid.
Okay.
How you doing?
Hey, Bishop Evans.
How you doing? Turn your radio down in the back if you can.
Yeah, I had to turn the sound off. I was so busy listening. Good morning, Bishop Evans.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I had two things I wanted to bring up quickly. Yesterday, I was on a community talk radio program, and a councilman from North was on there. And this guy was going off about the black churches and their role in the crime bill that was passed by Bill Clinton and Biden.
Okay.
And the whole discussion behind the failure of, like, my generation, in the 80s and 90s, dropping the ball, the crack cocaine epidemic. And he said it was black people in the black churches that pushed that crime bill. But to me, he was missing the context behind it. I don't think anybody, especially black people, intended for that crime bill to play out the way it did, when they did the crack cocaine versus powder, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think sometimes, Sid, what happens is that it's very important what's written in a bill, but it's also very important what is implied will be allowed by a bill, and the nuances of the bill, and the purposeful convoluted language in some bills is over the head or beyond the scope of a lot of people's understanding, because we're not trained in that stuff. But those bills are written, and if you don't understand the subtleties of it and how one decision impacts another decision and another bill, because sometimes A bill will impact B bill, will impact C bill, and the three of them working together perpetuates a condition that you didn't understand when you only read Bill A. So it's kind of a, you need a politician that you can trust. Yeah. And then sometimes I think some of the politicians may not be astute enough to see the subtleties in some of the bills.
Yep.
So a lot of clergy people, these bills are like hundreds of pages long.
Yeah.
And which is why most of the politicians have staff people to read the bill for them and translate the bill in language they can understand. Yep. The average individual doesn't have that facility.
Right. Yeah, so it got heated because, there were a lot of younger people on the call. And, they just simply wanted to blame our generation where, a lot of people my age and, maybe a decade younger were saying, yes, we understand we dropped the ball. But, they weren't understanding what you just said.
Well,
The context under it.
the dropping the ball piece implies we had the ball.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh.
And I'm not sure we ever had the ball. We might have been at the game.
You hit the nail on the head with that.
I'm not sure we. Good to hear from you, Sid.
I got one more thing, Bishop.
Hurry up, girl.
What do you think about the woman in Alabama who is charged with manslaughter after she got shot?
Yeah.
What?
And the baby died.
What happened was.
That's it. I'm gonna let you go.
So a young woman was 5 months pregnant.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
5 months pregnant. She got into a fight with another young lady, I guess, over the baby's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the young lady got shot. The baby died.
Okay.
They're not charging the lady that shot her. They're charging the mother.
Okay.
By saying that she's at fault for the child's death.
Okay.
Because she helped initiate the fight. So now, remember, she's the one that got shot.
She got shot. Her baby died. They're charging her with
manslaughter.
manslaughter.
Charging her with manslaughter, not the woman that shot her.
The other girl was self-defense.
Yeah.
So the pregnant lady was beating up the other lady?
Yes.
She initiated the fight.
Now, you're really losing when a pregnant woman's beating you behind, you got to shoot her.
Yeah.
She was only 5 months. She wasn't big.
Period.
But by 5 months, you're uncomfortable, right?
Coming from folk that never had a fight, you wouldn't understand.
Right.
You ain't never had no fight. Zero pregnant, 5 months, 3 months, 8 months. You ain't never had no fight. So you have no idea what we're talking about.
Aren't you uncomfortable around 5 months, though? There's some discomfort at 5 months, right?
Sometimes 5 months you're not even showing.
No, but there's still some measure of discomfort, right?
Watch this. Some people are 5 months, they look 2 months.
Yes.
Other
That's
people
true.
are 5 months, look like they're ready to go to the hospital.
Yes.
So it's relative to the
relative.
individual.
Yes.
Now I'm a guy,
Yes.
and I'm saying
I'm
this.
about to say, I'm like,
But did you see the girl?
Did you see her?
I saw her profile on her.
Profile on
saw her
what?
from here.
You ain't see how big she was?
One of those ones who didn't carry.
Coulda.
And the other girl was
Coulda.
But I'm just thinking back. Remember, like
That's like that boy that bit that girl because she was beating his behind.
Right.
That singer.
Robin Givens and
Not Robin Givens. No, that other one. That the girl from Jamaica, and she was going with.
Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Chris Brown. Yeah,
You're losing when you bite somebody. You getting your behind toe up if you got to bite somebody.
But guess what state this is in?
What?
Alabama.
Oh.
So it's all over that whole abortion thing, that she should have protected her baby and not initiated this fight. So they're going to charge her with homicide because she's at fault for her baby death.
Only in Alabama. Let's go to Kenneth from Greensburg. Greensburg, PA. Hello. Kenneth.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. Welcome to Onpointe, man.
Thank you very much. Good to be listening to you guys this morning. Awesome show.
Thank you, man. What's your comment today?
Well, I want to. All of it's so good, I don't even really know where to start. It is right on point. But I just want to say that we really need to take caution at this moment in time because they've drawn their line in the sand.
Absolutely.
And we sit back and we church and we do all of that, but we have to remember that the Pharisees, that they were the head of the church system at the time, and Jesus was on the ground running, and that's what it's about. We got to be active in a real sense and deal with real issues, face them head on. But I just want us to be cautious that, Trump's already voted about his people think he should stay in longer than the 2-year term. And we haven't even gotten to the second term yet. So I really think they're going to go all out and try to, by the Supreme Court, get away with term limits. I mean, they're really going for it now because this is the last-ditch effort. We're talking about a race that is fading, and right now I believe this is the last hurrah, and they're going to go all out. And so we need to be mindful of that. And actually do everything we can, and all in love, but be wise at the same time. Jesus
Absolutely.
said, be wise as a serpent.
Absolutely.
So we have to understand what we're dealing with in order to deal with it and face the truth of the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then deal with it from that aspect. Yeah, do it all in love, but don't be foolish at the same time.
Absolutely.
Be wise and intentional in our actions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real thing. So we have to be serious about this. We can't just sit inside and stomp and shout and run around the church. We got to be outside actually doing stuff, because they're going to try to do away with term limits while Trump is in office.
You know what? Another sort of reason why I think all this conversation is coming up now. If you had revealed yourself like Lindsey Graham and all those others, you would absolutely need for terms to be extended, for the president to stay in office, because I believe in my heart, whenever he goes out of office, 2 years or 6, these guys can't pull their head back under the sand. They've revealed themselves in ways that fools can't ignore. And they need the context to remain the same so they can survive.
Absolutely. But they've decided to go all in about it. They don't care.
They have to.
About civility or any of that. All of that's out the window.
I think we're saying political survival. That's what I think we're looking at.
Absolutely, because that's how you get all of your agenda in place. That's what it's all about. They have an agenda, and one thing about the Republican Party, I can say, they will all go down together. They don't care. They don't care about anything. They're going to stick together, and all of them are going to say yay if they're going to say yay. All of them will say nay if that's the case, and they will go all out and go down with the ship in order for them to get their agenda across.
You know what, Ken? I've said it a long time. The racial vote is never logical. I don't care who does it, because I don't know how McConnell, presiding over the poorest state in the country, has kept his job, and he's one of the most powerful people in Washington. Why hasn't he taken care of his own state?
Well, I can tell you why. Because he knows how to make a clarion call to an issue bigger than the economy.
Absolutely well said.
And that's what we're dealing with.
Absolutely well said.
We're dealing with the survival of a race and how they want to stay pure for those who think like that.
So that's the desperation.
And they understand that we're coming out of that era where purity is almost obsolete.
Well, Pastor Nick was telling me a while ago that within the evangelical movement, there's this purity doctrine.
Oh, it's that's about sexuality.
Okay.
The purity movement of, the abstinent pledges and stuff like that, the purity rings and all that.
Yeah.
I think they just teach young people sex in the wrong way.
But that's for the women primarily, right?
Primarily, they do it for the boys, but it's primarily for the women.
Okay.
They make it like you have to dress right, behave, so he won't be out of control.
Okay, so that's why some of the ladies that were evangelical voted for Trump, because it had to be the women's fault, not his.
Not his fault, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're reared in that movement.
Pharisees only brought the woman.
Yeah. That what were you wearing when he accosted you or something like that? Why were
you there?
Yeah. What did you do to get him to do that? Not he's just insane.
Then they can boil it down to just locker room talk.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's just how men are.
Okay.
The last woman that accused him of rape.
That's my point, though.
Yeah.
You notice the Pharisees
you
only
heard that?
brought the woman.
Yeah.
But there had to be a guy there with her in order for her to commit adultery, right?
Yeah, had to be.
It was just a woman they bought, though.
Wow.
And it could have been one of them.
That makes sense.
It's true.
That makes sense.
So that's the point, though. It's not about we really want to change. It's about we want to control the narrative and set the norms, and anybody that bucks up against that, we'll find a way to deal with you, whether we smear your name, make you look stupid, call you crazy, and all of the things they do to smear people with voices.
Well, there's 3 D's in politics. The first one is deal. If you won't deal, then the next one is disparage. And if disparaging doesn't get you to come in the line, they destroy you. Those are the 3 D's of American politics.
Absolutely.
Deal, disparage, destroy, every time.
I guess, and the only thing that bugs me, and I was all Joe Biden. When I heard in that debate, just listen to him with so lackluster and little fire.
Yeah.
All I heard
He
was
bombed
deal.
out.
He had a bad
Yeah,
night.
he had a bad night.
But what I heard was deal.
Okay.
I'm the one he sounded like Trump in a lot of ways. I'm the one that made that happen.
Okay.
I did that. I did this. I. And it sounds like he could be so eager to cross party lines that we're going to get a lot of deals that are only going to benefit certain demographics.
Well, you know that political landscape is all about deals, right?
Yes, I do.
Let me ask you a question, Ken, before you go. Where's Greensburg, PA, come in at?
A little bit, probably about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, man. Please call us again, man. Enjoy talking to you.
Amen. Blessings.
Talk to you now. Danny,
Good morning,
Sir.
Bishop.
you're our last caller for the day, man. How you
Yes.
doing?
Okay, staff, how you doing?
Good.
Okay, I just wanted to comment on a couple of things with you, Bishop. There was a time when we thought that if we were to go out and protest and what have you and march around a building, that we would create a change.
Mhm.
But then we thought that we had to get inside of the building and be at the table
Mhm.
in order to make a change. But something that you brought up, which is very interesting, when we get inside and we sit at the table, we have no voice at the table.
There you go.
You're very absolutely
Mhm.
correct on that.
Just glad to be there.
Just glad to be there. No voice, but you're there. But it has no change. Nothing happens. So you're right. Who do we have to go ahead to see that a change would come about? And the other thing that you were talking about, and which gave me an idea of creating some thought, was when you say that at a funeral or something like that, there's no preparation.
Mhm.
And what I admire about you is that you do a lot of research, a lot of preparation, and I always say that you have the pulse of the people. You see what the people need. You're feeding them what they need. You're not giving them all dessert, sweets, or anything like that. And then you're focusing on the family, the children, and the last thing, and I'll get off the air here, is that I was so delighted. Men's Day. I was wondering how you were going to pull that off. But when we saw those young men up front, you know,
The three
and I
tenors.
said-
The three tenors.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
And it just, and the men showed up.
Yeah, they did.
showed out.
Mhm.
They showed up. It was good, man. We were very
They
proud
showed
of them.
out.
Very proud of them.
Yeah, and I just want to compliment Bethany again, once again, women and men. You got it going. You got it going, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right,
Tell my sister I said hey.
We'll do.
Talk to you soon.
All right, be blessed.
Bye-bye. So, I'm a little concerned about, and maybe we can talk about it. I'm a little concerned about the fact that we are not united in our addressing these issues. We've got these voices that are not what I call voices that bring people together.
Mhm.
It's almost like we've got these little fiefdoms.
Yeah.
The problem for us is we cannot afford intellectual silos if it's going to cost us a collective movement.
Yeah.
Now, we can all have our own opinions, but we've got to come together
Yeah.
so that certain things can get accomplished. But what happens is, you know, and some of the guys I know, they're very intellectual, very opinionated. They create these silos, but they create isolation.
Yep.
So they don't come out of them when we need to.
So I think Trump's going to probably win again. I don't want him to, but the liberals are so split. People already talking about they're not going to vote for this person if they go.
22 candidates, we're not helping ourselves. Who can you concentrate on?
Yeah.
And they need to have a real debate with 4 or 5 people and let it, you know.
The main people.
Yeah, the folk
Yeah.
that they got a chance.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's Biden, Harris, maybe Booker,
Yeah.
Buttigieg, whatever his name
Yeah.
is, and that lady that was and Warren.
Warren. Oh, Elizabeth Warren. Whoo! She is policy.
She's on her
she
game.
knows her
She's
stuff.
She's on her game.
She's no fluff.
She's on
bang,
her
bang,
game.
bang, bang.
She's on her game.
But people aren't taking her credible though. But she's got the.
Because I think the nation is hesitant about a female.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't be,
Yeah.
but I think they're hesitant.
If a man was touting that points like that, front runner all day.
She'd be Bernie Sanders the first time around all over again.
Yep.
Well, we're out of time. So glad you could join us today. This has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live on David G. Evans, one on any smart device you might have at your bidding. Pastor Nicholas Smith here, world-famous co-host. As always, we remind you, stay strong, stay safe. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. See you next week on Point.